Yo, what's up, fam? Welcome back to another episode of Man Listen, Real Talk, Real Dads, the podcast. Yeah, I said it, a podcast. I've been holding back calling it that, but it's official. And I want y'all to listen to it any way you can and watch it anytime you want to. So tag a father who needs to hear this or someone who want to support the mission. And while y'all at it, check out our merch, Controlling Victory. On your path, conquer your goals, and victory starts within. We got hats, we got hoodies, we got t-shirts, and so much more coming soon. But listen, this episode right here, we sit down with Josiah Moore, a father who had to rebuild his life after a 10-year relationship ended. And he gets real on what it took to become the man, the father, and the husband he is today. So please like, share, subscribe, and get ready to hear Josiah's story. Let's go. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Man Listen, Real Talk, Real Dads, where it ain't about being perfect, but being present. The wins, the mistakes, the lessons, and most importantly, the love. Today's guest, he's a father. He's I'm gonna say newlywed, because I feel like after 5 years, up to 5 years, he's still new. He's, like I said, he's a newlywed, and now you stepping into a blended family as a stepfather, which I hate saying stepfather, so we're gonna call it a bonus dad.
Bonus, yeah.
And also being a co-parent. So Josiah, what's going on, my brother?
Man.
I appreciate you, man. I
Appreciate
appreciate you having this conversation with me.
Sir.
Go ahead and tell the people about you.
Well, like you said, man, I am newlywed, just coming off of a year and some change, just being married to my beautiful wife, Renico. Hey, baby, shout out to you, Miss Mo, love you, girl.
What's up, Nick?
Yeah, man, and, father of 3 beautiful kids, Cadence, Omar, and Jay. And yeah, man, just trying to do this, like I said, blended thing, this marriage thing, and all that's in between, man. So it's definitely been a journey, and I did thank you for having the platform that me can come and share the ups and downs, and, trials and tribulations, victories and losses of that. So yeah, I'm excited to be here, man.
Yeah, man. Hey, I appreciate your time.
Yeah, man.
Because you is a busy man. He's a mentor of Tribe Mentoring. A tax professional, and the co-host of Posted Up with Nick and Jay, right? Yeah. And man, I was up one night going through y'all videos and y'all content, man, and I just love y'all dynamic, and how intentional y'all are about, when y'all started going into y'all relationship and moving forward. Like, why was being so intentional so important going into this relationship?
I think in this age of social media, a lot of times you have this picture of perfection that all couples want to have, right? Mm-hmm. And all couples see, but they never know the backstory. They never know, what a couple may be going through, a marriage may be going through, and they might be experiencing the same thing. And so what we found out with, just talking to going through counseling, going through, couples therapy, and going through having our own marriage group is people are going through some of the same things, man. And so being intentional on, hey, this is how we got over our, trials. This is how God helped us through, because a lot of it is just, by the grace of God, a lot of it is just trial and error. We made it an intent to, be real and share just our experience. We don't claim to be, professionals at all, but just, keeping it real and helping, whoever we may have along the way.
Yeah, that's important, man. A lot of people look at like marriage counseling as a bad thing, but my last guest was actually a pastor, and he was our marriage counselor, and he counseled us every time we come to a moment in our marriage where I'm not saying we argue, but at the same time, sometimes you're gonna have disagreements, and he sometimes gives us tools to kind of navigate those difficult conversations.
Yeah.
So I appreciate y'all being so open about y'all relationship and just showing other people, you know, it ain't about being perfect, but it's about just working through these things together, because that's what builds a strong marriage. That's what builds a strong family. So, man, I commend y'all of being so intentional and making sure, hey, let's make sure we doing this right. You know, we're gonna have bumps in the road, but let's make sure we leading by example and showing others like, hey, if we can do it, y'all can do it too, and being relatable. You know,
that mental thing, man. That therapy, getting that counseling for, you know, your marriage and also separately, you know, is important. You know, and that's one of the things that my wife was a big advocate in when we just started dating and everything, and just making sure that you know, we both was in a good, clear headspace. And just that made pretty much all the difference, man. Because like you said, a lot of times it's going to happen to where you're going to have the ups and downs, right? But it's how you respond, how you handle things, how you turn those tests into testimonies. So even though we're like, you know, real new when it comes to being married, man, God has brought us through some things, you know, already that we, you know, don't mind sharing and don't mind just giving some light on. So yeah, man, it's definitely good to have a partner that you equally yoked with in that way. That can, you know,
that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing. So now that y'all being so intentional about y'all relationship, you say you both went to counseling. How's being a father in this moment right now for you?
It's great. Fatherhood is great, man. It has its challenges, man. And one word that I would, we use it already, it's just intentional. You mentioned how busy we can get, especially as fathers, man. We want to be the provider. We want to, you know, it's so much that can be on our shoulder. We still have to be intentional on creating that space, creating that time for your wife, creating that time for your kid, creating that time for your bonus child, because all of that is just, you know, mixed in the pot. So I think, you know, right now and during this time, you know, the word is just intentional. Finding that space, finding that time to be what I need to be to each one of them.
Yeah, that's good. Hey, if y'all hear the loud noise, it's thunderstorming right now in Florida.
Hey, it's Florida, man.
Like, so if y'all hear all the loud thunder, that's outside, man. It's storming right now. But I like what you said. So I got another question. What were some of the biggest adjustments you had to make stepping into blended family dynamic?
Yeah, man. So Nick and I were so our chemistry was so good when we started dating, man. We didn't have that many arguments, so, you know, everything was just, you know, just fresh and new. So we just knew that the kids is gonna be gravy, right? And this is just gonna be a happy. You laughing?
So we hope, yeah.
Because we was highly mistaken, man. So I think just the wake up call that blended is a process. You know, I wanted to, especially coming, you know, having my own mentoring nonprofit and knowing, you know, what it takes to, you know, be a man and trying to just take on that responsibility out the gate. For my son Omar, it was like, this is right out the gate. I want you to understand where I'm coming from. I want you to, you know, to get everything and us to just be a family right off the top. And it just wasn't like that. It was, you know, him, you know, having to and still having to get to understand me, get to, you know where I'm coming from, get to, you know, and me understanding him. So again, being intentional on creating that space to where, and this is something I'm still learning, to where I'm not just, the conversation I'm having with him is not just about, you know, what you haven't done or what you know, need to do better, but it's, you know, hey, I see you did this, you know, I see you, you know, what is your interests are, you know, and, you know, just tell me about your day kind of thing, to where it creates a space to where my therapist told me like this: we need to ask our bonus children, what do they need us to be in this moment for them?
Wow. And
I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Because in our head, we might want to be, you know, they dad. But at this point, they might just, listen, I just need you to be a friend. I just need you to be a sounding board I can talk to. and what does that look like to them? So allowing them to be involved in creating that space of blendedness, man. And it's a beautiful thing now, because the progress is there. I see the steps that's been made to where between me and Omar, and even all the kids coming together, because it was a challenge, man. It was a challenge. So just having different upbringings, different, he's the only child, and I was the only child. So again, it was a lot of things that me and Omar had in common. I'm like, man, this is gonna be great.
Yeah.
But the adverse thing is making sure that he didn't feel like I was taking his mom from him, that I was trying to replace his dad, that kind of thing. But really just being, like we said, that bonus. We use the same thing, bonus. Bonus. That's our bonus.
Yeah, I
child.
hate the word stuff.
Yeah, I'm the bonus dad. Because it's a bonus, because it takes a village, man. So I'm just a bonus dad that's here for him, and yeah, man. So that's how we're rocking it.
That's good, man. Because I honestly wish I would have known that when me and my wife got together.
Yeah.
Because I'm a bonus dad as well, and that's one thing I had to later on in me and my wife's relationship. I had to go to my bonus child, and I apologized to him, because a lot of times I was just like you, trying to force it on him. Hey, you need to listen to me, and you need to do this, do that, and I could tell we was always cool, but it was still a fear. He didn't, oh, now I want to get in trouble, and I started noticing that, and I had to call that out, like, you know what, son, I'm sorry, I apologize if it feel like, you got to walk on eggshells around me. Even though his relationship was good, but still, it was certain times I was like, kind of looking like, I want to make sure he trusts me,
right?
Because trust is everything. If you trust somebody, then you're able to have those conversations. And I had to go back and redo a lot of things, and that's good that you started out early, because like you say, you laying the foundation of something that's going to eventually be something greater, and y'all looking at each other, and even your wife, I know she appreciate that, because she's been his mother. It's just been them two,
That's her baby, man.
Yeah. So how's she in this process?
You know what? Again, the key word is process.
Yeah.
I think one of the key words with parents, I would say, is triggers. And triggers can be from either past relationships or from your childhood that we then place on how we raise our kids or how we co-parent. So what we found out is it was triggers there. It was triggers from me from when I was that stepchild, that and some of the mistakes that my parents made, and me portraying that on our children, the fears, the anxieties, and vice versa for my wife. Same thing. Some of those fears from past relationships, some of those fears from childhood. Now all of a sudden, what we found out, we would get so responsive and reactionary with the kids when they do something or have their own bouts. By the time they got over it, which is in minutes, we still got a problem, and we like, y'all good, but we not good. I'm like, what's going on? So what I found out is, and what I learned is kids are resilient, right? And they're gonna have those, they're gonna go through those motions. But what we learned is we can't let that affect us. That we on the same team. And what I found out in them earlier times, and still, like I said, sometimes we just crease the habit, right? Sometimes in situations when it comes to kids, we go to our respective corners. I'm on this side, you on this side. We divided, right?
Yeah.
So we had to, and we are trying to, starting to like figure out ways to be better at that, be neutral, and that's one thing that I had to really, make sure I was doing, is getting the full side of every story. When it comes to kids, so when something happened, who broke what? Nobody don't know nothing. So just coming at it like, being that neutral parent, like, okay, getting full sides, everybody's story and finding out what the truth is, and not seeming like I'm coming, being on one side and the other, because at the end of the day, as a blended family, some of our kids, maybe that's something that they fear. Like they fear being singled out. They fear being, treated differently. So just making sure that they understood that. So yeah, man, them jokes be good, and we still in a separate corner.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hold on, we gotta pause and see how to make that better for us. So yeah.
That's that's something me and my wife had to make sure, and always have to. Yeah. Make sure that we always on the same page, because at the end of the day, your kids looking at y'all as the example. Yeah. So it's very important that it's about the kids, but it's more about y'all and y'all unity, and making sure whatever goes on in the house, we got to make sure Jay and Neek is like this. We got to make sure Farlan and Tiffany is like this, because our kids going to look at that, and if it's division, man, kids are so smart that they can notice the division, and sometimes they'll come and manipulate the situation. Like, hey, Mom, can I go to such and such house? Dad said no. You never know. And even dealing with the co-parenting, you're going to deal with that too, because one parent on the other side is going to do things one way, and you're going to do things the other way. And guess what? Your child got to go over there, do it things her way, and now your child got to come back, and do things your way. And which is it's a struggle, and I'm pretty sure it's a struggle for you, because this is something new for you. So how has co-parenting shaped the way you show up as a father and as a man?
Patience, man. Patience. Especially with the co-parent situation, man, because you find out that's a man in the mirror kind of situation, and I'm really any man I speak to and pour into these days, I'll talk about responses and how nobody is responsible for how we react to things but ourselves. So even in those most difficult challenges, I still have a responsibility to react a certain way that is pleasing to God, and ain't making me look like a fool out here, right? And that's hard sometimes.
Very hard.
It's hard sometimes to have to bite your tongue. It's hard sometimes to, especially when it comes to your kids, because you want to defend yourself when you feel like it's a picture that's being painted other than the truth, right? But again, our kids are smart. Right, and what I found out is eventually, as time, just like I did, I came from a single parent home where my dad was out of the picture for most of the time until I got a little bit older. And what happened is I had a mind for myself. I began to see things that again, and think for myself to say, okay, I can, and that's why we got to make sure that we're just training our kids to have a mind for themselves, to think for themselves, because at the end of the day, I'm going to try my best not to speak, any negative thing about your mom, about their mom, but at the end of the day, what's the truth, right? Yeah. And I had to, you said something about apologizing. One thing I noticed is that we come from a generation that parents didn't do a lot of apologizing with us. No,
hey, this is it. This is what it's gonna be.
We still got some stuff we unpacking because some missed apologies. But I think that is important. That we show our human side to our kids. So you know what, I could have did better. And that bridges the gap to let them know that they can come to us with their imperfections. I would have the Cosby syndrome, because if you notice with all the Cosby kids, they always they hiding something. And Claire and Cliff had to find out later on. So I say that to say, because they thought they was perfect, right? They thought that they just had this, perfect situation and nobody made mistakes, and that is far from the case. So if you put it in the context where a child can understand, hey, we made a mistake here, I'm sorry here, I would apologize here. Even when, they might hear us have a disagreement. we used to think that was the end of the world. My wife, bless her heart, she like, you know, this cannot happen, you know. And as much as we try not to have those moments, if we do, come back and say, you know what, this is a part of relationships to where you're gonna have that. It's not gonna be the end of the world, but how you then react and respond. And that's what we found out was the biggest takeaway from our kids. We had those conversations with them, like, you know, no, y'all good. Because we, like I said, we come in the progress to where it was in the past, we like, man, are the kids good? Because we ain't, how's this working out? Then we interview them, they like, y'all good to us?
Yeah.
And I'm like, really?
They ain't even thinking about it.
They ain't even thinking about it. They like, nah, as long as y'all good, we good.
Yeah.
And here we are thinking like, you know, this is the end of the world because we're showing our human side. We're showing that it's stuff that needs to be worked out. So when we talk about therapy, when we talk about counseling, we need all those tools in the toolbox. And not only do we need them in the toolbox, we need to actually use them, because ain't no use to, you know, having all that. But then when it comes down to it, because we're not using it, because, you know, it sounds good. Yeah. But when that rubber hit the road, man, and it's that test that, you know, you just had and talked about, now you got to put the action behind it. How will you then respond? So I tell, you know, co-parenting has definitely been patience in response. It's taking time to really think about your response and reaction to things, so you're not taking yourself out of character.
Yeah, that's good, man, because that's true. It takes a lot of patience. Yeah. It takes a lot of just being transparent. You know, a lot of times, and you said it, like, some parents think that having a disagreement in front of your kids is the end of the world, and it's not. And like you said, it's how you move forward from that. You know, we gonna have disagreements, but let's have a healthy disagreement to where, you know, we're not disrespecting one another. But, you know, it's gonna come times where we're gonna have a disagreement. And my last guest, again, he was a pastor and our marriage counselor, and he gave us some tools. He's like, man, if y'all have a disagreement in front of your kids, have that disagreement, but after the disagreement, after y'all figure it out, sit down with the kids, let them know, hey, this is what happened. Me and Dad had a disagreement about this because Dad wanted to go here and I didn't want to go. But we resolved it, and this is how we resolved it, and you know, we all good. Again, kids gonna be like, okay, why y'all telling me this? But at the same time, to be transparent is important, because at the end of the day, your kids gonna have to know conflict resolution. Exactly. You know, they need to know it's okay to be human and have a discussion on, hey, let's figure this thing out. You know, you feel a certain way, I feel a certain way. Let's come in the middle and figure it out and walk away. Hey, it's no bad blood. We just, you know, it's a process.
That fighting fair, man. Fighting fair is what we call it.
Yeah, but and co-parenting, you know, again, like you say, you can't control the other side. You can only control you. Man, I wish I had this conversation with you when I started being a co-parent. Because that's one of the things I always wanted to make sure. I wanted to make sure that my son, you know, I wanted to always be, man, I'm gonna be the best dad ever, because like you, my dad, he wasn't in my life as a young child. So I always made sure, man, I'm gonna be the best dad, this, that, and that. And when my situation was a little different than yours, but mine was taken away just a little prematurely, you know, where I had to go to the court and I had to fight to be in my son's life. But, you know, even through that process, you know, you're not able to have those conversations with your child. And just like a lot of fathers sometimes get in those situations. So being able to turn the other cheek and not take up for yourself, it does a lot to men, because you want to, you know, go against, oh, that's not true. No, son, I love you, and this and that and this and that. And sometimes, you know, you got to have that patience, and just wait your turn and pray and hope, you know, like, God, you know, just get me through this, because it is a process. But I want to go back to co-parenting. Was there ever a moment where you felt like giving up trying to make co-parenting work, and what kept you going? And not saying that it didn't work. I don't know if you mentioned that if it working or not, but in your situation?
My situation has been co-parenting has been a journey, I would say, and it's been, you know, ups and downs. So I think the thing, like I said, it goes back to that patience. It goes back to really just, like you said, one thing my children's mother knows is, listen, I'm gonna be there regardless, right? And I had to really just make sure that wasn't going to change. And I think, like you said, a lot of times we don't, as men, we don't know our rights. We don't know we have a fight in the game, man. And so when I made that decision, you know, to separate and move differently, I made it for my kids. And here's the thing I want to say, you know, a lot of times people stay in things, unhealthy relationships, abusive relationships, and things because of the kids, for the sake of the kids. But I had to realize, and it wasn't until I had a conversation with one of my coworkers. He was talking about how his dad stayed with his mom, and he resented him for staying with her because he thought, he just knew his dad should have left. And his dad ended up dying early.
Oh man.
From cancer because he smoked, right? And so that cigarette smoking became that stress reliever because the mom was just so out of pocket. And he said, man, Josiah, I wish I probably would have had my dad today if he would have had the nerve to leave. And sometimes you have to leave to save the kids. Yeah. Because we are teaching them how to respond to relationships. You know, we are teaching them healthy, good or bad. Is this how relationships supposed to go? So that man in the mirror moment with me was like, I gotta do something different. Yeah. I gotta do something different. And it was the most scariest thing in my life.
I bet.
Because, you know, we friends enough so you know the you know the story of what was before. It was, you know, for a lot of people, they didn't see it coming. They was like, nah, not them. Because again, that's some things I learned. Like, we spent so much time trying to look a certain way. And have this image that we wasn't really putting the time and the effort into behind the scenes on what that really meant. So we taking the picture, cheese, and soon as it's over, you know. Gotcha. So yeah, man. So now it can, you know, I said, you know what, and I think that's another thing, that how now it's the difference between, you know, me and Neek, because we want it to not just be this perfect, even though we look good on the camera, and we going on, but it's a testimony, and it's test behind that you guys got to understand that we have our own challenges. Don't get it twisted, right? So yeah, man, it was, I think for a while, man, I tell anybody, man, that it's scary. It's divorce is like a death, man. It's really like, and you go through your grieving process, and you know, it was something that I didn't know if I was going to ever recover from. You know, I never know if I was going to have, you know, what my relationship with my kids was going to be, what the, you know, the visitation and all that other stuff was going to be. But all I knew is, for the sake of them, I had to change it up to where I was safe, they were safe, and I had to trust in God. So that means I had to spend some nights in my car and have nowhere to go. You know, I had to sleep in that, man. I had to deal with that. I came from just having a nice family home to being really homeless. Starting over from scratch, right? And not being okay, because at the end of the day, I had my peace, man. I had my peace, and you know, that was important to me. So not being afraid to, you know, start over for the sake of your kids too, for the sake of, you know, just letting them know that, hey, this is still the foundation I want to, you know, lay down for you guys as your dad. So yeah,
man, that's big, because that shows a lot about what type of man you are, what type of father that you want to be, and you know the type of foundation you want for your kids. So I commend you for being so open and transparent. You know, because I know a lot of guys, they feel like, oh, I'm a man, I should be able to take whatever that comes my way and keep this going, you know, because you know this a man, you know, but not only that shows the type of father you are, but that shows how much faith you have, because for you to go through that process and sleeping in your car, and then you had to have some type of faith to know, like, God, I know what you got coming for me. I know you got better for me, and I know that you're gonna keep me safe in these times. And now look at here, you married, to Neek, and you able to do things how you wanted to do and how she wanted to do, and y'all come together and be so intentional on making sure, like, hey, we look good on camera, right? But we need to make sure we look good off camera.
Off camera.
A lot of people, you'll be fooled. Like you see all these celebrities, they look good and take pictures, and then boom, oh, such and such filing for divorce. But
it's no longevity, bro. There's no longevity in it, because they're not taking that time. The moment that that happy ever after ain't so happy. Because happiness that's a temporary feeling, man. And it comes and goes, but you still have to have that covenant with your spouse, man. You have covenant with your wife, covenant with your husband that you made, with God and before your family and friends, man. So I just thank God that I had a second chance. That's what I just really thankful all the time. I tell Neek, man, she's a prayer answer, because she was really my opportunity, a second chance at doing this marriage thing again. So
that's good, man. I'm gonna ask you this question: how do you handle being respectful to your child's mother while still standing your ground as a father?
It's a balance, and you have to realize you lose some, you win some. So I had to find, and this is only with the help of my wife, man, because I came from just trying to just really defend everything, just because, again, I didn't, when it comes to our marriage, like, anytime I feel like it's something trying to paint a picture I'm not, I'm defense mode, right? So, but I can't win every fight, man. I can't win. Sometimes you have to, lose a battle to win the war. So, being respectful, because at the end of the day, I am still an example to my son on how to speak to his mother, how to speak to his bonus mom. So, and even my bonus son, I'm examples to each and every one of them as a man, how I'm gonna handle the situation.
Even the people you mentor.
Even the people I mentor. So, and what's happened is people that, because what divorce divides too. When you was was married for so long, my last marriage was almost 10 years. So what happens is, when you separate, people take sides, right? It's a casualty. So some of those casualties that were in the past that maybe had fingers pointed have come back and said, I apologize, just because I made a point to take a stance where I would not respond a certain way. Even when other people wanted to take it to social media, even want to air out everything. And they was waiting. I had my people waiting, like, what we doing?
Listen, I ain't gonna lie, I was one of them.
What we doing? What
I
we
was
doing?
like, okay.
Oh, the weed said
like, what is he going to? But I was one of those people, but I was also one of the people, man, I hope he don't respond. You know, and you did exactly what.
Yeah. So, again, I knew the long game in that. I knew that, for one, that's gonna come back around, and my kids gonna see that. They're gonna see at some point, my dad responded some kind of way, acted some kind of way. And I just didn't want. My view has always been, regardless, I'm still gonna try to have the respect for you as my children's mother. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, if we didn't do nothing else great, we did this great. This is our accomplishment. And you know, so it's an appreciation there, right? And that gets sometimes, you know, mixed up and and missed when we're dealing with all the other stuff, emotions, and we're dealing with hurt, we're dealing with unforgiveness and bitterness. We don't take the time to see that we are still parents of two beautiful children. And I appreciate the part you played in that. I appreciate the part that, you know, you played in, you know, raising them and teaching them in values and instilling and stuff that, honest with you, I couldn't do it by myself. So that response got to mirror that even when it's hard, bro. And again, that wasn't something I just woke up, you know, wanting to do, but I still was determined to manage how I responded, even when it was like, gloves off. But I knew I just had to take a breather and you know, just manage that.
Like, where did that come from? Is there somebody that you confided in to kind of give you that advice, or is that something that you just knew inside of you just had to do?
It's, you know, I say like it's a pet peeve of mine. First of all, to have people's relationships being this on social media. I don't. It did because them same people say stay out my business. But your business is on my thread. It's on my reel. So you know,
you opening the door for people to comment. And to take sides.
So understanding that, I think I just always thought it was distasteful, right? So it goes back to my faith. I always, one of my favorite scriptures is, I'm justified by faith. And now I have peace with God. As long as I got peace with God and I'm justified by knowing that He know the truth, I really don't got to state my case and prove nothing to nobody else. And then again, coming from wanting to, man, like, it was so much slander. It was so many things and misconceptions out there. You know, one of my friends was telling me, man, you know, during that time, he's like, man, I'm gonna start calling you Tyler Perry. You got the drama, comedy, thriller, action. So I can laugh at it now, but you know, I'm like, man, I'm going through.
I know. Trust me, I get it.
You know, so but and all of that, just I think it was my faith, man. It was, I really had to believe that God knew, and that was the only thing that mattered.
That's good, man. That's good. I know how hard it is. Again, I wish I would have had this conversation with you earlier before. But at the same time, you live and you learn. You know, and sometimes, like you say, it's all about your faith and you know, what you want to look. How you want to look out there, you know, you can. It's so easy to go back and forth, you know. But when you start thinking about the bigger picture, that kind of changed a lot.
And that wasn't to say that I didn't sometimes. It was sometimes. So I'm like, nah, we ain't doing this. And you know, and we had them conversations, right? And then again, you know, when it comes to that, me and my wife are like yin and yang, you know, which you need, because sometimes we can be kind of pull you back and be like, was all that necessary? Was all that necessary? And I'm like, well, whose side you really on? But knowing and appreciating that, you know, God put somebody again that, you know, can balance that out, because you know, we laugh because sometimes we can be that ride or die for each other. Like, you know, ready to pop the trunk kind of thing, you know, like,
I got your back no matter what.
But then when it comes to just being accountable, she has a way. Be like, we could have handled that better, you know. And I'm sometimes like, whose side you on, man? You know. But coming back and be like, you know what, you're right, you know. So just having a moment. Sometimes it's just a pause. You know, you need to. We got a saying, my wife saying she learned from somewhere in the ministry, pause, ponder, pray. When you got to pause, ponder, think about it, pray on it, before you respond, because sometimes them seconds and minutes makes all the difference in how things turn of events come, you know, just with our response. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good that you have somebody like that, because I look at my wife the same way.
Yeah.
You know, if it wasn't for her, I probably would have jumped off the cliff a lot of times and said things that I probably regret. And I have said things that I regret, that I wish I would have listened to her, you know, but sometimes we're not human, you know, we're not perfect.
Yeah.
And to have somebody on your side to be able to call you out in love and say, babe, listen.
Yeah. We better than that.
We better than that, you know.
Yeah.
I know the truth. You know the truth.
Yeah.
You know, that's all we need. We don't need to help the devil out or add to the drama. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes being silent is a response. Yeah. You know, and my pastor and marriage counselor, he always tell us, you know, to take a B. Which is take a break. Yeah. You know, and he gave us these 3 things that me and my wife, we use in our marriage to this day. That he said, is it true? Is it kind? And is it necessary? You know, before you have any conversation or want to speak on something, you ask yourself those 3 things before you speak on it. Is it true? Is it kind? And is it necessary? Yeah. Right. Sometimes some things can be true. Right. Sometimes things can be kind. But you got to ask yourself, is it necessary? Right. Yeah. You know, is it really necessary to have this conversation?
Right now.
Is this something? Right now, exactly. Because sometimes we want to have, hey, you did this right now, but was it kind? Yeah. Yeah, it was kind. Okay, but is that true? You're right. You know, and boom, is it necessary? And not only with your spouse, you can use those same tools with your kids. Right. You know, sometimes your kids will do something, but you have to ask those 3 things. Is it true? Is it kind? And is it necessary? You know, in a lot of relationships, you can use those tools. And man, our marriage counselor, he gave us those things, and
that's good.
Boy, it changed the dynamic of our marriage and how we move forward. You know, because those things, if we didn't have those tools, it would cause a lot of arguments, a lot of disagreements that really really ain't need to have, you know. Yeah. So back on your spouse, how do you set boundaries with your partner and your co-parent to avoid unnecessary drama?
I think just by I wouldn't say any means necessary, but it's really, you got to know, and this is why it's good just to have a parenting plan. Let the courts, you got to know your rights when it comes to certain things. So it's been a few times where I just had to listen, this is going to be an injunction. You know what I mean? Because I just can't have slander. I just can't have certain things. So, you know, I'm going to let the court handle it, kind of thing, right? Because what happens is, when it comes to, again, back to our response, if the sheriff office come knocking on my door because of the Mexican situation, either with my wife or with my children's mother, the odds are against me.
Oh yeah.
So I say that to say sometimes we have to be proactive, right, and preventive, because instead of reacting the way that's gonna make me feel good, but still may cause harm, I have to then protect my spouse in a way that, you know what, I'm just not even going to allow that to we're just not gonna go there. It's not gonna have that conversation. I had that conversation with anybody. Because one thing about me when it comes to my wife and kids, you know, I protect the mode. I'm a nice guy, right? But you got to flip the switch real quick.
Yeah, real quick, those usually be the ones. The nice guys.
Them nice guys, boy. You be like,
don't piss them off.
Okay, you mad? So, just understanding, like, you know, always make sure you're good no matter what. So if I had to have a conversation with somebody, I'm gonna have it. If I have to go down to the courthouse to have a conversation with somebody down there, I'm gonna have it to make sure that certain things are not gonna, come to us. But I'm gonna be honest with you, sometimes it does, man.
Yeah.
We've had those stressful moments to where we like, this is a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
And I had the problem, like, man, some of that stuff you just don't realize that you go through. You realize, sometimes you really don't think that it'll get that bad.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, I've been there, so I'm like, dang, this is like, I really can't win for losing. Because now what happens is you put in a situation to where you like in the middle of something that you're just trying to keep everybody on beat.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like trying to keep the mother, the co-parenting appeased with it, and going on and trying to keep your family and your wife good. And it's like, I just want this, like, Mark, can we all just get along, right?
Yeah.
But that's sometimes easier said than done, because you can't control somebody else's feelings. You can't control somebody else's reactions and behaviors. But what you ain't gonna do is bring that to my house. So by any means necessary, protect your peace and have them open conversations with your spouse, your wife, like, how do you want me to handle this? Because I can assume, because here's the thing about you, going back to reaction, I'll flip out thinking I'm protecting. Yeah. And she like, I don't need all that. We just gonna rock this way. So a lot of times that's having a conversation with your wife, like, babe, how do you want this? This is what I'm feeling. Yeah. That's one of the things that we learned in therapy too. Like, I feel, those I statements to where I feel like this when this is like that. And she go, well, no, I don't feel like I do all that. So just having because a lot of times we assume that we gotta do this, and they just want us to just be calm, and just relax. So,
that's good, man. That's good. Again, it's always good to have that support and have those conversations, because your wife really, I hate saying this, but your wife be knowing a lot.
They be knowing, man.
You can't tell them that. I should have whispered that.
Can we take that out? Edit that.
But we listening
too.
Man. They definitely.
They be knowing some stuff. Yeah, man.
They know. But we know a lot too. But of course, we can't say that.
Right. But in the podcast, one of the things I shared was, do you want to be a lonely winner? Because I can easily try to win every argument, bro. Yeah. I can state my case. I can pull out all the facts. Yeah. And win. And be right on the couch. Yeah. I won this, but I'm alone. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you don't want to be beating your spouse down with facts and and logic. Which half the time we do. That's what we do. In our minds, we thinking logic, not feelings. Yeah. This is what's making sense to us. Yeah. So what you talking about? Yeah. So we beating down them with, this, and we not saying nothing about, I hear you, I understand you, I can see how you feel like that. Yeah. I'm sorry. All those things can instantly change the situation, because, and again, this is something I'm learning on the job training. Yeah. Because I wasn't always like that, bro. Until my wife pretty much told me, like, and with tears in her eyes, she don't know how to bring some stuff to me because of my reaction. And I'm like, it was really one of them, like, okay, hold on. Yeah. You know what I mean? Open the moment. Wait a minute now. Yeah. Because again, all I'm trying to do is tell you that I'm not this guy that you're trying to, I don't think you're trying to paint me out to be. Yeah. But all she's saying is, it's not an attack on you, just because I'm feeling. Yeah. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. So understanding, another thing I learned in therapy was that the men as a husband, we are the thermostat, we set the temperature. That's it. Yeah. Like it or not, the temperature in your house is set by you. That's the man.
Yeah, that's big.
And I'm like, but nah, wait. Nope. Yeah. You gonna set it. It's certain kind of responsibilities that goes to how Christ loves the church, man. Yeah. He loves the church so much that he died. It's that sacrifice alone, right? Yeah. So here we as a husband trying to live up to that. we gotta constantly sacrifice ourselves in the way to where our wife is being put first and feels safe first and feels all that first. We gotta be the first to apologize and all that when we just sometimes don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But again, this is on the job training.
Yeah.
I might have learned some of this yesterday.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's to where you have to remember that example that Christ says as believers. That's one of the things that we go back to, that vertical, because if we're not careful, bro, and that's what we tell each other. Me and Nick, we lead co-lead a marriage group for our church, and one of the things we learned is your spouse cannot become your idol. You cannot let what God bless you with now oversee the blesser. So the creation can't outdo the creator, right? Yeah. So a lot of times we come in these situations to where we have those high expectations for our spouse that they will never meet.
Yeah.
That I'm expecting you to meet everything and be everything.
And be everything, yeah.
And she just not, man.
Yeah.
And same vice versa. I'm just not.
Yeah.
So in those moments, we gotta go up.
Yeah.
We gotta go up, man. So that's what we've learned too.
Yeah, that's big, man. That's good to hear. So let's talk about like the fathers. Like, what advice would you give to a father navigating a toxic co-parenting situation who still wants to show up for his kids?
It goes back to sometimes it's that long game, man. And have a good support system. That so you know that you're not doing things alone, man. My family, during some of my, during that darkest time, I had my family really surround me and really be there for me. So just having that support system, man. Yeah. First of all, you need somebody to be vulnerable with. You need somebody to be like, man, this ain't a good day, man. I'm not feeling it. I ain't seen my kids. Some of the hardest voicemails I had to listen to was my kids telling me they miss me. And I hadn't seen them, bro. I hadn't seen them in weeks, and weeks for me is years. Yeah. Right? So just my advice, man, is to be patient, man. Have a good support system and pray. I'll tell anybody, God changes things, man. He hears your cry, your prayers, man. He restore anything. So no matter how hard it looks now, just remember, joy comes in the morning. Yeah. I ain't gonna preach, but I say it. We can make it do it for a night, man. But that joy comes in the morning, man. So I would tell any father just struggling in that situation, don't give up, and just fight in a way that would make your kid proud. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, man, they're gonna grow up and they're gonna either know that, hey, my dad gave it all he could. Yeah. He faced some situations that just were out of his control. Yeah. But he kept his cool. He's here. He ain't locked up somewhere. He ain't lost his mind. And again, our kids are resilient. That's another thing. Just realize that your children are resilient, man. And they, at some point, will know how much you love them, know how much you care about them, know how much you're fighting for them, even if it's years on down the line. I'll share this personal story. I told you me and my dad was separated for a while. And years later, he came back and he showed me a letter that he had wrote. His job had like a "What do you want for Christmas" kind of wish list, and they printed it out on a newspaper. And he said, "All I want is to have my son back." Oh man! And I'm near grown and having tears in my eyes. Yeah. For like really understanding what all that meant, really understanding like what my dad had to face as a man during that time. Yeah. So, fellas, your time, it's gonna come back around. That your kids are gonna know how much you love them. They already know. And never give up. Just keep on fighting, man. Don't ever give up on your kids, man.
Yeah, that's good, man. Fellas, y'all listen up now. Hey, and y'all will be able to see him speak and get all this game and knowledge and, you know, pour into other people because, man, that's good. I like that. So let's stay on the kids. Like, what's something you wish more men understood about dating someone with kids or becoming a bonus dad?
Again, just like me and Nick realized, us dating and the relationship with the children is completely two separate things. And just because y'all love each other so much doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be just an easy transition for the kids to understand. So I would have, and also during those times in dating, have those conversations on what parenting looks like, what discipline looks like, what kind of, who's going to do the discipline, what's the expectation on me as a father figure, how do you want me to discipline, do you want me to be hands off? Have them conversations during dating, because what you don't want to have is, you know, you married now and have all this that you really should have had more time to really talk out when the dating process, because you don't want any surprises to where, you know, because some men just, you know, my way is the highway. Whoever under my roof, I'm going to abide by my rules, and that's that. It's no democracy. And to be honest with you, you know, I'm old school, so, you know, I had some of that in me, like, anybody eating this food? What's going on? So, but being able to dial back the discipline part and put back the friendship part when it came to co-parent, came to bonus dad and in the bonus situation, because again, in the blended. Again, my wife is so much better at it than I am, because she understood that she wasn't the kid's mom. They had a mom. She was very intentional on not stepping over that situation, right? Me, on the other hand, I was had a little more freedom because the dad wasn't in the picture as much. So I'm like, okay, I'm here. You gonna do this, da 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 da. So I think, again, it comes to just having those conversations in the beginning on what that looks like. You know, what are your no's, like you ain't taking this kind of thing, and what can you know, compromise on. That's big.
That's good. I'm gonna ask you one more question, and then we'll do a finish the sentence. Where I ask a question, and I say a phrase, and you'll finish the phrase. But before we end, here's the last question. How do you make each child, biological or not, feel seen, heard, and loved?
I think the word of the night is intention. You have to know what that child, ask that question, like I said, about what do you need from me in that moment, and ride with that, because a lot of times we have an idea of what we should be to them and what they should have, and that could be further from the truth, you know. So realizing that each child are their own individual. So, you know, just as parents can appreciate the teachers that teach their child as an individual, not as a classroom, because when you just have a broad way of doing it across the board, somebody might get lost in that shuffle, because, you know, kids' temperaments, kids, you know, what they like, what they don't like, is different. So just because my son likes to go outside and play and, you know, go on, you know, outdoors kind of thing, doesn't mean, you know, the other one is, you know, the bonus son going to learn to have that same situation. Just because, you know, I can literally speak sternly with my youngest son and he about to fold. Right? The oldest one, it got to be more firm, like, you know, but then understanding, like, as a parent, like, how do I relate to them? and get on not on their level, but again, going back to the scripture, it says train up a child in the way that it should go. So when I think about training, I think about the army, the military, and how even after they leave out the service, you can still tell that they've been in the service.
Yeah.
You can still say, this civilian life is not for you because you just been trained right. So I want it for my kids, man, that they can go out in this world and be like, you've been trained right? I can just tell by the way you walking from around here because you've been trained right. So understanding how to relate to each and one of them and get to their level to where you can provide that training. Yeah.
That's big, man.
Yeah.
Josiah, man, I appreciate, man. This is a great conversation, man.
Yeah, man.
I said I wasn't gonna ask you all the questions, but I think I asked you majority.
Yeah, you did, man. Yeah,
because I felt like this conversation, man,
it's much needed, man.
It's so much needed, and man, the fact that you went to therapy, the fact that you and your wife did therapy together. Y'all had the marriage counselor, and you were able to balance co-parenting and being a bonus dad and being a newlywed. Man, that's big. And to hear your story, man, I feel like you're gonna help a lot of men level up in their relationships, help a lot of men level up in being a parent, being a co-parent, a bonus dad. So much levels that you just took men up a notch, and I appreciate that. And that's exactly why I wanted to have this conversation with somebody like you. Man, when you came to mind, I thought about you because we already have so much in common. Our daughter's birthday on the same day. So I already knew what you was dealing with the older child. Which I love you, baby.
Yeah, we love y'all. We love the girls.
Even when I came over, I told my daughter, like, oh yeah, man, me and him, his daughter the same birthday as you. And just the different things that y'all going through and the things that you went through. I see so much of me in that, in all the things that I went through. Like I just did everything as I went through life. I didn't have anybody who I could talk to or what you say, a village. I didn't have that village. I was pretty much dealing with everything on my own. So the fact that you're saying, you need to have that village, you need to pray, to have your wife on your side to kind of pull you back. Hey, baby, let's do it different. That says a lot. So I appreciate your time.
Man, I appreciate you, man, and just giving your flowers because again, sometimes as men we see each other and you don't get to say, I see you, bro. So just seeing, that evolution of manhood to fatherhood to, being a husband, I commend you too, man, because you and Tiff, man, y'all doing great things. They got candles, man. They taking pictures, man. Doing podcasts,
we did a lot.
Man, listen.
Hey, man, listen.
Yeah, man. So, man, I commend y'all too, man, because again, we need to have more examples on what love looks like, what family looks like, just what perseverance looks like. Because again, we come from a society to where, as soon as the first little sign of trouble hit, we bailing out. And it's just blendedness and family and marriage. It'll be the toughest thing you ever do in life probably, but it's also most rewarding.
Facts.
It's also most rewarding. So just keep that in mind, brother.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I really do, because me and you and our families, we trying to make sure families stay together. Right. It's important that we start keeping these families together, because most of the time it only take one conversation. It be that one conversation to keep that together, and we have to get in the space where we're open to have those conversations. Right. Sometimes we need to be able to talk to a marriage counselor like, hey, man, we can't get through this situation. And you have that marriage counselor to give you those tools. So again, stories like this, I feel like that will encourage other people to have those conversations. Go get therapy, see a marriage counselor, talk to your spouse, and man, you'll be able to get through a lot. So I appreciate it.
Yes,
so
sir.
Before we get to the last, finish the sentence, go ahead and tell people how they can follow you and support you and whatever you.
Yeah, man. IG tag is one Josiah Moore. You can follow me and Neek and my wife. We doing the podcast Neek and Jay. Posted up Neek and Jay on YouTube, man. So, and that's more material coming out very soon. So, yeah, that's where I'm at.
All right, man. Y'all make sure y'all follow Josiah and his lovely wife, and make sure y'all check out the podcast Posted Up with Neek and Jay. Like I said, I was up at night watching y'all videos and just getting more excited about this interview because I seen y'all dynamic and how y'all was able to kind of just bounce back and forth off each other and man, that was powerful, man. So any couples, marriage couples, man, make sure y'all check out their content. It's real good because y'all talked about being intentional when y'all was just dating.
Right. Yeah.
Leading up to, was y'all already engaged when y'all did that video, or that was before the engagement?
We were engaged.
Okay.
We just talked about what led up to that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's big because that showed the process. You know, because it is a process. It ain't always about just love. Yeah, we love each other, but let's dig a little. Yeah, what love got? Yeah. Matter of fact, y'all had a video trying to do it. You know, so it goes deeper than that. You know, it goes deeper than just saying, "Hey, I love you. Let's get married."
Right.
What do you want as a father or a husband? What do you want as a wife, as a mother? And those conversations, again, are so important. When me and my wife got together, we didn't have those conversations. I take that back. We had conversations, but it wasn't as intentional as y'all. We pretty much knew, hey, we don't want the relationship we had before. We don't want to be the same parents that we had with our child. You know, it was so many things that we wanted different, and we knew that. And that's how me and her clicked, you know, and it's been a beautiful journey with my wife. And man, it's good to see other couples on that same wave because we setting the blueprints, for other marriage couples. And I can't wait to see what you and your wife bring out of that and what y'all build along this journey with each other, because boy, it's only up from here, you know. So, and I'll be watching and saluting and supporting as much as we can, man.
Appreciate
so,
it, man.
Who knows? We might need to do something. You know, I'm gonna just throw it out there. I'm gonna throw it out there.
We might bring the wires on one of these shows.
We might need to do that, you know. So, this last segment, I always say a phrase, and then you'll just finish the sentence, and then we'll close out like that. Okay.
All right. Cool.
All right. So here's the phrase. Being a father in a blended family means.
I'll take it back to one of your slogans, man. It means being present. It means presence over presence, which means sometimes we get in the grind of, I got to do this, and all the time they just want our time, you know. So being present is what a father means to me, man. Just being there consistently, there for my kids, man.
That's big, man. Josiah, I appreciate your time, man.
Thanks for having me, bro.
Yes, sir, man. So if y'all got anything from this conversation, or if y'all felt led to just level up in life, maybe something hit you in your heart that resonated with Josiah and his story, man, y'all make sure y'all like and subscribe to this video and this channel. Make sure y'all share it with another father to level up. Make sure y'all follow Josiah and his wife and their journey. But again, it's not about being perfect. It's about being present. Sorry. It's not about being perfect, but being present. I did say that right. But man, I appreciate y'all watching this video, and y'all stay tuned for the next video. This is Farlan and Josiah, and I appreciate y'all.
Peace out.